Hello, my loves. Hello. So, I'm about to get real with you all as I reflect on business and what I am devoted to creating here, being a woman in business, trying to honour her cycles, the seasons of life, the seasons of business, the ebbs and flows, the humanness within it all. So some of you might know I am an emotional projector in human design. I feel things deeply. I like to feel deeply. I like to express deeply. I like to be curious about the world, the depth of the world, the depth of our humanness, and to give space for it all. Hence the business vision, She Embraces It All. And one of the things that I continue to come up against time and time again whilst I'm building my business, whilst I'm sharing my passion, whilst I'm creating my offerings, whilst I am staying devoted to what I set out to offer, to be, to embody. And the thing that I come up against time and time again is, I can't show up in that way. And so on the days where I'm feeling a bit like, gosh, I feel a bit sluggish, or there's the self-sabotage coming in, or I'm like, I've expanded to this new space within myself, within my offerings, within my capacity to hold more, to invite more, to witness more in other women. There's this beautiful moment that's like, it's expanding, feels like it's thriving, feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like this feels so alive, it feels like it's flowing. And then there's this little part, or a big part in me, that will pop up and say, you don't know where this is going actually, this is new, you haven't experienced this before, this is brand new, and so it doesn't feel familiar, it doesn't feel safe. We don't know which way this is going to go, and I'm being asked to meet myself in a whole new way. So this is where this potential self-fulfilling prophecy comes in. And one of the big juicy topics that myself and the other business women have chosen collectively to explore this month is all around generational patterns, deconditioning and healing patterns that have potentially ran in our families for many generations, and how we can become aware of these patterns, these beliefs, these behaviours, how we can bring them with deep, unwavering compassion and love into the light, and to really become curious with, is that behaviour, is that actually serving where I'm heading? Is that pattern, is that belief actually keeping me feeling very restricted in a place that no longer feels empowering, it doesn't feel nourishing, it doesn't feel expansive or liberating, it doesn't feel in alignment with your fullest expression of self? And so I've been leaning into this a lot recently, my own limiting beliefs, not only how they cycle and start to become quite overpowering in the mind, but how we actually embody these beliefs. How are they being held in our muscles, our cellular memory? How are these beliefs expressing themselves through our posture, through our tone of voice, through how we're moving or not moving through the day? And I say this because it could be very natural for me to go into a default way of being where I convince myself that so many things have been coming up to the surface recently, convincing myself of this belief that maybe things have to be hard, like life has to be hard. I've had this sense over the years of like feeling like I'm trudging through mud. And then so I convinced myself like, because I was in such a pattern for so many years of overworking, feeling like work had to be hard, work was stressful, that in order to be successful, I had to abandon myself, and I had to keep giving and pleasing and over-giving. And so my understanding of work, of a career, was that you had to fully give 110% of yourself until it became draining and became this sense of abandoning my own needs and my own desires, my own heart. And that was a state that I lived in for many, many years, and still to this day it continues to be a deep invitation for me to come home, to return to, that's how things were for me, for the generations before me. And here lies my invitation to return to, why is it that I left that career? Why is it that I was devoted to creating another way of being? One where I don't have to show up in a certain way, one where I don't have to be perfect, whatever that means, one where I don't have to prove anything or to pretend to be a certain way to come across as successful or capable, competent, desirable, all of these things. It's like, actually, she embraces it all. This vision of mine is all about giving space for us to show up when it feels hard. On those days where it's like, hey, it's taken me all day to get out of the house. It's taken me all day to soothe and to nurture these beliefs that come in when it's like, you're exploring a new way. You're exploring these ways where actually it feels like you're actually starting to experience success in a whole other way that doesn't feel absolutely debilitating, that doesn't have to feel like this stressed, burnt out, overwhelmed way of being. It actually gets to feel more easeful. And that doesn't sit well always in my nervous system, because to be easeful and to be spacious and to be receiving in these new ways actually feels quite activating for my nervous system, because that's not what I've known. Historically, to be spacious, to be easeful and resting, actually it indicates historically for me that something's about to happen, like something, I need to be up and doing something, because I'm not going to be worthy, I'm not going to be met with love or all of these things if I'm in this other way of being. Because in order to be worthy of love, of acknowledgement, of validation, of all of these things, I have to be pushing and I have to be forcing and I have to be performing and I have to be striving. And so it's a rewiring, my loves. It is a deeply cellular, integrating, relearning, soothing, nourishing, regulating journey every single day. And I wanted to share this because so often we might get caught up in, but I should be past that by now. If I offer this in my services, if I'm an advocate for this, then I should have mastered that. I should be like this shiny version, like this perfectionist kind of model of what it means to embody that. And time again, I question, if I'm offering my services as an embodiment coach, what story am I putting on myself about what that means? What am I telling myself that I have to be, or that I should be embodying? And for me, fundamentally, like everybody else will have their own opinion or their own views around what it means to embody something, what embodiment means to them. And time again, I'm being invited to remember that for me, embodiment means how open and willing am I in any given moment to meet myself with the deep values that I hold deep within my heart. So in any given moment, how able am I to return to myself with a deep sense of non-judgment and a deep invitation of unwavering self-compassion. How able am I to meet myself there, to embody that with my breath, with the way I hold myself, with the way I meet myself, with the way I move forward, with the narrative that goes on in my mind, with the stories that I choose to believe. How able am I to embody the most loving, supportive and empowered version of myself? How able am I to be open to exploring what that might be? For me, that's what embodiment means. It's getting a real sense of clarity around what is deeply true, meaningful and aligned to me, recognizing that will be different for everyone. Everyone will have their own individual, unique sense of that based on their own experiences, their own patterns, their own upbringing, their own values, their own visions and hopes for the future. And how able am I to devote myself to returning to what feels like a beautiful soul piece of homework or soul alignment for a lifetime. We get to keep returning to this within the ebbs and flows of life, within our humanness. How able are we to embody that devotion? So that embodiment doesn't mean, oh, you have to show up a certain way, you have to look a certain way, you have to always present yourself a certain way. It's like, wow, for me, embodiment is how I can meet myself regardless of how I'm showing up or not showing up, regardless of what I'm presenting, what I'm not presenting, how I'm how I'm perceived or how I look or how I'm talking or all of these things. Can I come back to an unwavering sense of curiosity around how do I wish to meet myself in this moment? And I'm being reminded that each time I give myself permission to meet myself exactly where I am, whether it's like on an absolute high and I'm passionate and I'm like flowing with my vision and I'm like, whoa, someone's gonna think like, wow, she's way too much, she needs to like bring it down a peg or two. How can I meet myself in that? In the too muchness, how can I liberate that? How can I let that flow out of me, ooze and radiate from me when it's alive, when it's there? And how can I also meet myself on days like today where there's a sense of flatness and it's like, oof, gosh, life feels hard today. It's like one of those habitual days of like, it would be easy to just shrivel up and just stay small and not have to dig deep and to not have to do the inner work and to not have to mother myself, you know. It would feel easier to just be like in this self-loathing, like trudging through mud, like what's the point kind of energy. And then that becomes the self-fulfilling prophecy. That becomes that self-fulfilling prophecy of, yes, my belief growing up is that life is hard. My belief growing up is to anticipate the ending before it's even happened, to anticipate grief, to anticipate the hard stuff. That was my narrative growing up. I came to expect that. And so my life became about preparing for that, anticipating that, embodying the hard stuff. In my body, it was like my body was like weighed down, head down to the floor, shoulders rounded, weight of the world on my shoulders, and then coming from this place of a overgiving rescuer, overworking, perhaps loads of undercurrents of avoidance there and all of these things. And so really stepping into my own sovereignty, stepping into my own power and meeting myself with like, hey, what's going on today? Kind of like, okay, what's actually present? You're noticing yourself in these patterns or these behaviours. Can I just press the pause button for a minute and actually tune in with what's wanting to be felt right now? If there was something that I was avoiding, What part of me might want to be felt right now? What part of me is trying to avoid feeling? Can I give space for that to be there for a moment? Can I give space to meet that part of me without trying to change it, without trying to be something else, without trying to show up in another way? And can I come back to this deep sense of, what am I devoted to embodying here? What am I devoted to creating in a way that we might not have seen before? We might not have seen it modeled to us. We might not have seen it embodied before. It's like we're creating our own way based on what makes the most sense to us, based on all of our experiences, all of our blessings, all of our lessons along the way, all of our deeper invitations. And so it becomes this deep return into, who am I telling myself I need to be? What am I telling myself I need to do, or how I should be, or how I should come across? And is that actually aligned to the vision? Is that actually aligned to my message that I'm wanting to remind myself of, that I'm wanting to offer to others that would find it supportive? Can I come back to that? Can I breathe life into that? Can I embody that? Regardless of whether it makes sense to what everyone else is doing, can I come back to deep integrity with that and lean in courageously? It's courageous to lean in and to embody a way that might not be the typical way that we're seeing each and every day out there at the moment, and yet can we come back to what makes most sense to me in my heart, what feels deeply true in my own being? Can I return to the magic and the gold and the potential within that before I start moulding myself into what everybody else is doing, or how everybody else is creating or being in their way? It's like, what about what's true in my heart? So yes, a little reminder and an invitation for me, and perhaps for anybody that's watching today, is to really come home to ourselves, to really question, who are we telling ourselves we need to be? How are we telling ourselves that we need to look? How we need to sound? What we need to say? And also, what is this self-fulfilling prophecy? You know, are we telling ourselves that life has to feel a certain way? Are we telling ourselves that we're not worthy of X, Y, and Z? Are we choosing to stay stuck in that narrative by like, well, God, that just feels hard, so I'm just going to stay in this, or I'm just going to lean into this because it feels easier or it feels more comfortable, even though it's keeping us stuck. I'm just going to stay stuck in that because it feels too hard. It feels like too much effort. It feels like too much newness to lean into that other thing. It feels like too much of a stretch out of our comfort zone. And so we just stay in that stuck belief that, I'm not actually worthy of creating that thing that I set out to do. I'm not actually worthy of receiving. When these messages are coming in, when women are wanting to dive in deeper together, it's like, am I really capable of holding that? Am I really worthy of receiving that trust, that exchange, that beautiful acknowledgement of, wow, I actually have come a really long way within myself and my own journey, and others are seeing that now and they want to lean in and they want to explore what that means for them. But how able are we in those moments to say, yeah, I am capable. Yes, I can hold that within myself. I can hold that for others. I can witness that within others because I have witnessed that within myself, because I've devoted myself to this journey for a long, long time and have evolved in ways that I never would have anticipated. And it's like, remember, let's remember just how far we've actually come. When that inner child comes in, or that younger narrative of like, ooh, are you really capable? Are you sure you can do that? Because remember, like, you weren't really capable of doing this, and you were made to feel like you weren't really good enough to do that, and all these little narratives that come in. It's like, whoa, hang on a minute. Let us just remember who we actually are, just how much we've actually overcame already, just how much we've journeyed and held ourselves and stepped into and managed and actually thrived in. How often do we focus on the thing that went wrong, or the thing that we didn't quite experience in the way that we'd hoped, or that moment where we felt like we weren't capable, we weren't good enough? And actually, what might happen when we start to remind ourselves, like, oh my goodness, like, look at everything you've cultivated, look at everything that you've supported yourself to step into, look how far you've come, look at all the ways that you've not only supported yourself, but that you've supported others in your way of being. Let's take a moment to just remember who you are, you know, like, look how far you've come, look how capable you actually are. Let's take a moment to remember that and see how we want to move from that place. All right, my loves, I feel like that's complete for today. Yeah, it feels pretty complete and like a beautiful reminder for me today as well. And so if you've made it this far, celebrating you, my love. I would love to know how this lands, what all of this means for you, whatever that may be. And gosh, yeah, let's keep leaning in, let's keep noticing when it feels easier to shrink, to stay in the collapse, to stay comfortable, to stay small. Let's see just how much we can empower ourselves to step back into our fullness with a deep sense of compassion, a deep sense of permission. That, oh yeah, to show up in my most empowered self doesn't mean I have to be positive and shiny and upbeat and happy. It means, no, to step up into my most empowered self, I get to be in deep integrity with my core values, which is compassion, non-judgment, permission to be human, authentic, vulnerable. That gets to be my most empowered self. So often I convince myself that empowered self and to be in my leadership and my embodiment meant that I had to be like really upbeat and radiant and optimistic about life and like positive and all of these things. And it's like, whoa, no, that's not what I'm creating here. I'm creating spaces where we can embrace it all, our whole humanness, not just in life, but in our businesses, the highs, the lows. And believe me, there are some highs and there are some real lows, and everything in between, as I'm sure many of you ladies can relate to. So yeah, I would love to know if this lands, how it lands, and what's coming up for you in all things life, all things relationships, all things business. If you ladies want to journey together deeper into the realms of authentic relating, authentic business, embodied business, to explore what all of this means for you, I have some gorgeous opportunities coming up this spring. I have a couple of places on your embodiment journey. Some ladies are just coming towards the end of that beautiful 3 to 4 month one-to-one somatic coaching experience. Oh gosh, every single journey, wow, so beautifully unique, powerful, rich, nourishing, liberating, seeing the safety and the deep self-connection and liberation that these women experience on their own embodiment journeys. Oh gosh, there are no words. So beautiful. And so yeah, a couple of spaces available on that this spring. The next spaces will open up in September, and some beautiful spaces. We've got a few spaces left on your embodied business journey, the mentorship. This is, oh my gosh, something that has been being birthed from behind the scenes for a very long time now, and I heard the call. So many of you ladies journeying with me in various ways, asking, can we delve into all of this in our businesses? I want to explore embodying all of this in our businesses, in our visions. And so we've been collectively shaping what that looks like together over the past couple of months. And I am so excited to lean into that together this May. Oh my goodness. If you are in the very very early stages of your business, if you're brand new to business and yet you know you want to get your offering, your vision, your business idea up and running, whether that's alongside your career, whether it's you've left your career recently, whether it's your side passion of yours, I would absolutely love to explore what it means for you, to really embody the essence of you and to let that ripple and radiate into what it is that you're hoping to offer and contribute to the world, whatever that may be. And so yes, few spaces left on that this May, and yeah, some really, really beautiful opportunities to lean into all of this together and to really return to what beliefs, patterns, behaviors you're holding in your body, what generational patterns are coming up, what self-fulfilling prophecies are you remaining stuck in, those beliefs that no matter how hard you try, no matter how much mindset work you do, no matter all of these different things, you're still not feeling it. You're still not feeling like you're able to really actually embody the very thing that you're offering to the world, whatever that may be. And so I would love to unravel this together as we journey deeper one-to-one and in these beautifully intimate group experiences. There's actually only a handful of spaces available this spring so that we can really journey richly into the depths together. And then come September, there's going to be double the amount of spaces where we get to journey that much, more as a community, and we get to open this up to other women. So if you're anything like me and you thrive from deeply intimate, cozy, nourishing, liberating spaces where you can really dive in deep together, then spring is the invitation for you, my loves, where there's going to be a handful of us journeying into the depths of our own embodiment, our own visions, our own heart-led businesses. All right, that is all I have for now, my loves. Have a beautiful rest of your day, rest of your evening, rest of your week, and yeah, head on over to my Instagram page if you're not there already. I've not decided where I'm going to share this yet. We will see. I've got many of videos that have never made it anywhere because sometimes I just like to express, process, and then I just trust that whatever makes it onto the web will make it there exactly when it's supposed to, and then I'll let go of the rest. So yes, head on over to my Instagram page if you're not there already, and that's the best place for us to stay connected, for you to keep in touch, and to get in touch and see what upcoming opportunities I have this spring. All right, my loves, have a beautiful day, sending so much love, and look forward to connecting again soon.